Hi. So it's been 10 weeks and I've got my 2 worm boxes here, and I'm harvesting the castings right now. And it might be a little premature, might be a little late, but for sure I know I've got lots of worm castings in here and worm eggs and baby worms. And so if you look inside here, what I've been doing is just mounding up all the castings and soil that was in here, and then I wait for a few minutes, and the worms go to the bottom because they don't like light. So let me show you down here under this one. You can see all those worms down there going to the bottom. And so I'm trying to just get all these castings. I'll wait for a minute. You can see here I've got a 5-gallon bucket that I've filled with castings, and oh, look at this. This is so exciting. This is, I don't know if you can see that, that is a little worm egg right there. So wherever I put this outside, that little guy is gonna hatch, and I'm gonna get earthworms in my yard. I'm also finding little bitty babies, so I know some of these eggs have hatched. Let me see if I can find you a baby. I don't know, there's a big one right there. Ugh. I did find a little one earlier, let me see. Okay, there's a little bitty baby. Look at right here. Can you see that on there? You see that baby? That's cool, right? So what I'll do is I'll just take this 5-gallon bucket all around my garden and my yard, and I'll just take a handful and put it by this plant and that plant and in my rows of my garden. And if there's little baby worms in there or eggs, they'll just hatch, and they will, well, everybody calls this garden gold. So it will fertilize my garden, and it makes the soil richer, and then the earthworms that are in there, they will go to work for me in the garden. I've been doing this for about a year and a few months, and I have noticed a lot more earthworms in my garden and all around. And then what I'll do is I will, some of these worms now, they've doubled, you know, in population. So my friend just came over and I gave her a bag or a little bucket full of worms so she could start a worm box. And then the extras, I'll just go and put them in my garden, in a little handful here and a little handful there, unless somebody wants them, and then they can start a worm box. And then I'll rinse these boxes out, swish that water out to my plants because it's got the worm castings in it, and then I'll start over. And so what I do to start over is I will take right here, I've mixed up some potting soil with water, and you just want to make sure you get potting soil that doesn't have chemicals in it, and you just squeeze it, and so you can see it makes a ball, but it doesn't drip fluid, so just about that moist. This is what I was talking about earlier with a chocolate muffin. So I got that wet, and then I took newspaper and paper bags and the bills I didn't want to pay, not really, and I shredded them up and, you know, kind of made sure they weren't dense, like separated them out. And I put water in here, and this just kind of feels like wet laundry, kind of like how you would transfer your laundry from your washer to your dryer. So not drippy, but also not too dry. And what I'll do when I clean the boxes out is just put, you know, a layer of this dirt in the bottom, and I'll take maybe a handful or 2 of my worms and put them back in there, not too many because they're gonna grow and populate and eat and work. And then I'll put a nice layer, about that much, couple inches, 2-3 inches, I don't know, you might have to look that up, of my wet, damp newspaper on top. And then I'll feed them and put them back in the house, and every 3 or 4 days I will check on them, and in 10 weeks I will be able to double it again if I want to. So good luck to you. Happy worm farming.